and welcome back to some Stray Gods, the role-playing musical. We're playing from where we left off yesterday. We're starting Act 2. I'm not going to be talking during the game. I will respond to chat, though, but I won't be talking during the songs, and just because I don't want to interrupt, the vibe. So, yeah. But for the most part, I will be muted unless there's something that I really want to say or anything like that. So, without further ado, let's get into the game.
Ah, Grace, you're back. That's good. I was just about to call you.
He means he wants me to call you because Paul here still hasn't figured out how to use a phone.
That's not true. I know how, I just don't like them. They're confusing. Anyhow, I've been contemplating our list of suspects, and I think Pan is someone we need to consider.
Why Pan? I thought you'd rejected him as a suspect.
Persephone did, but I've had time to think it over. Pan is a schemer, a traitor in favors. He always has been. His sudden appearance in all this cannot be coincidental.
You think he could have killed Calliope after all?
Perhaps. Or he knows who did and is trying to turn it to his benefit. He always knows more than he pretends.
Wait. You don't like phones?
I just don't like talking to people I can't see.
No, it's the ringtones. They scare the crap out of him, I kid you not.
I'm not frightened. Only a child would be frightened. They're just very loud.
Yeah.
Can we return to the subject of Pan, please?
You should know. Pan asked me to meet him at Olympus. I'm not sure why.
Wait, he wants to see you again? I don't like this.
Neither do I. He decided I owe him a favor after he came to my apartment.
That sounds about right for him. Aphrodite is holding a party of sorts, one you should attend. She is closest to Pan. Indeed, she knows almost all the idols. If anyone is up to something, she's bound to know.
What do you mean by a party of sorts? I mean, I'm always down for a party, but...
It's more of a remembrance than a party, really. It's difficult to describe.
That's awfully vague, Apollo.
It'll be easier to see for yourself. It's nothing you can't handle.
You know Aphrodite better than I do. Can't you talk to her?
Well, talking to Aphrodite isn't something anyone does with much success these days.
Well, if that's the case, what makes you think I'll get anywhere?
There's a standing invitation for the Muse to attend this party. Calliope never went, so Aphrodite will be thrilled to see you. Trust me. If I thought you couldn't get her to talk, I wouldn't suggest it.
I still have that invitation from Pan. Maybe it'd be easier if I just went to see him.
You could, but would you believe anything he had to say?
I might be able to coax some truth out of him. I can be persuasive.
Well, whatever you do, be careful. I still think Aphrodite is our best bet.
Okay, I'll go. Eventually.
Perfect. I will see you there.
Paul, you should see this. The names you wanted me to look up are getting weird results.
I don't doubt it. I was hoping you could...
Get over here!
No worries, Paul. I'll see you later.
As I recall, Grace, when I said stay or leave, you chose to leave. If it wasn't clear, I don't give second chances. Or did you have some other reason for darkening my doorstep?
I wanted to see you again. Make sure there were no hard feelings.
Oh, so it's a social visit then. Oh, let me be clear. There are no hard feelings. There are no feelings at all. You came, you got what you wanted, you left. Wherever you need to go next, I'm sure Apollo can take you.
There's nothing stopping us from being friends. We don't need to be allies.
As I said before, I'm still not convinced of your innocence. I'd say that stops us from being friends, Grace.
Really? Still?
Either you're guilty, in which case you won't be here long, or you're innocent, and we can speak after the trial. One last word of advice before you go. If you want to survive, don't look to anyone else for help. Not Apollo, not Pan, not even me. You walked away from my offer, and I respect that. Make your choices and live with them.
Fancy party? Check. Bunch of strangers? Check. Grace totally not dressed for the occasion? Check. Now, if only I knew what I was supposed to be doing here.
Grace, you made it. I'm so glad. I was beginning to wonder.
You didn't say this was a fancy party. I feel a little underdressed.
Grace, look at me. I didn't even button up my shirt. It's fine.
Why is everyone so quiet? You'd think someone died.
I should have told you about this earlier. I've been putting it off.
You're cute when you're all angsty. You get this little crinkle in your forehead.
You might not think I'm so cute after I explain. You don't have any of Calliope's memories, right? No déjà vu recollections that aren't your own?
No. Should I have?
Not right away. For a while, you won't remember anything. We call it the veil. In time, the veil will start to lift, slowly at first, but eventually you'll remember almost everything Calliope did.
Seems like the sort of thing you should tell a new idol.
New idols are usually chosen. You would know about this already, except
Calliope was murdered.
well, remember how old we all are. There are so many memories. So the veil lifts gradually to protect you. Eventually, it's like a flood. It becomes difficult to separate what's you and what's them, and all who came before them.
You're saying I won't be me. I won't be Grace. Will I start calling myself Calliope?
Maybe. Eventually, most of us do, but most of us were chosen and prepared.
And I didn't choose this.
I understand. Take some time to let it sink in. If you like, we can talk about it later.
What does this have to do with the party?
Aphrodite hasn't been the same since we came to the New World. She has horrific memories of what she endured during the war. Passing on her eidolon is a way to forget, for a while. That's what this party is for.
When you say she's gonna pass on her eidolon, you mean...
She's going to die, yes, and pass her soul on to a chosen successor.
in front of everyone?
We're here to help, Grace. To make it easier for Aphrodite to do what she feels she must. We're here to say goodbye. At least for a while.
This isn't the first time Aphrodite's done this. She's held this kind of gathering before, right?
This is her 4th, I think, perhaps 5th.
So every time the veil, whatever you call it, when it starts to lift...
Aphrodite's memories return, and eventually it is too much. We gather to pay our respects and to honor the past, while she still remembers it.
Wait. Calliope refused to come to these parties. That's what you said.
She refused on principle. Everything Calliope did was on principle. She believed Aphrodite was indulging her sadness, wallowing in it. She thought Aphrodite should try harder. It was a point of contention between them. Aphrodite will be grateful you're here. Trust me.
Do you support what Aphrodite is doing here?
It's not my choice to make, Grace.
Yeah, but you must have an opinion.
Eventually you will remember what we experienced during the war, and eventually you will remember that what Aphrodite experienced was far worse. If this is the mercy she requires, I will not tell her she should not take it.
I don't know, Apollo. I don't like the whole idea.
You want her help, don't you?
Yes, but...
At least speak with Aphrodite before you make a final decision. She's not here just yet. Until she arrives, I suggest mingling.
Mingling.
Yeah, mingling. Talk to Eros. Or we can talk more if you like. Just try to relax, Grace.
Sure, yeah. Relax. That's what this party is for, right?
I know all these people, Grace. For as long as I can remember, I've known them. Yet sometimes I feel like I don't know any of them at all. Or they me.
You don't enjoy these family gatherings, do you?
Are they family gatherings? Like the sort mortals have?
You call each other sister and brother and mother.
Well, yes, but...
And you've been together like 100 times longer than I lived with my family. All you're missing is a drunk uncle everyone has to apologize for.
That would be Pan. But yes, I feel very much out of place.
You look like you're in physical pain just being here.
Oh, enjoying my discomfort, are you?
Of course, it humanizes you. Makes up for all the abs on display.
I'm so glad you approve.
I should get back out there.
Grace!
Hey, Eros. Nice to... Oh. Okay.
Aphrodite will be so happy you're here. It means so much, you have no idea.
Are you okay? You seem a bit...
Every time she does this, I don't know how to handle it. I almost want to run upstairs and demand she stop. Remind her that this never works. Sorry, I shouldn't unload on you. It's been a bad week.
Hey, I understand. This can't be easy.
She's the one who is suffering. I shouldn't be complaining. I just hate this. I'm there every day, going through it all with her. The nightmares, the panic attacks, the weeks when she just won't get out of bed. I'm there when she forgets the war's over, and I hold her until the screaming stops. Me. I do that.
That sounds awful.
And now I'm arranging her gathering again, so she can die again. and I'll watch it all. Again.
Is it okay if I ask what happened? I don't mean to pry, but I'm new. I really don't know.
No, it's okay. I wouldn't usually talk about it, but I know you don't mean any harm. What happened is that Brother Ares happened. He missed out on the first world-spanning war, you see, so he was damned if he'd miss out on the next one. He found some jackbooted mortals so full of themselves and their supremacy, and he told them about the idols. Then they came for us. Took us completely by surprise. Some they killed, but Aphrodite, her they captured.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Aphrodite was captured, but she's here now. So she must have escaped.
She didn't. Do you know the name Hephaestus?
No. Should I?
God of smiths. He could make anything, any tool or weapon. He was Aphrodite's husband, and he adored her. When he found out the mortals were torturing her, he went mad. He was determined to save her.
Wait, they tortured her?
Nothing extreme, I'm told. They were too frightened, but they were also determined to wring every last secret out of her. So, who knows how long that fear would have lasted. Thus, Hephaestus made a deal.
With the, jackbooted guys.
No, with their enemies. That's what saved her.
Then this deal is how Aphrodite survived.
It's how we all survived. It's what brought us to the new world. Hephaestus saved us all. We never saw him again. That was the deal. He would leave, make their precious weapons, and never look back. Aphrodite never even got to say goodbye. It's funny, because Aphrodite didn't even like Hephaestus when they were married. She seemed to resent every minute they were together. But now he's all she can think about.
Is there no other way? Does Aphrodite really need to...
To die? I've asked that so many times. She's tried magic, drugs, psychotherapy, meditation, everything we could possibly think of. For a while, she'll deny anything's wrong. It all seems fine, and I start to hope. Maybe this time will be different. Then the nightmares begin, and the memories return. More with each passing day until... I hate it, but I see her agony. I can't deny her this.
Maybe I just don't understand, but... Isn't this... like suicide?
Some of the idols have committed suicide. They let themselves die without passing on their eidolon.
What happens?
What you'd expect. They're gone. Forever. Mother says she can't do that. She won't. Not until she sees Hephaestus again, I suspect. Not that what's happening here is anything casual. She still has to die for a while.
You sound like you don't approve of what Aphrodite's doing.
What I want is for her to not hurt anymore. What I want is for this to end. She'll ask you to use your power as part of the celebration. Could you use it to inspire her?
I can't force anyone to do anything they don't want to, Eros.
That's not what I'm asking. I believe that deep down, she doesn't want to do this any longer. She must see it isn't working. She just needs the strength to try. Or I hope that's all she needs.
I'll try. if you think it'll do some good.
I don't know if it will. I just find it hard to believe it could get any worse.
Famous last words.
Tell me about it. Do whatever you think is right, Grace. And thank you.
Back again.
I spoke to Eros. He's pretty broken up over all this.
Oh, poor Eros. Each new successor, his hopes rise up once more. And then he watches the new Aphrodite crumble, piece by piece, only to start all over again. It's so different from the olden days. Once he was the eternal disaster, and Aphrodite kept constant vigil over him.
Maybe he feels like he owes her.
I think he's followed her into a dark void, and somewhere, deep down, believes he deserves no better.
I should get back out there.
My family. Having you all here, gathered once again to see me off, it moves me. More than I can say. My loves, my darlings, my dearest friends. And you. Oh, my dear sweet thing. I dare not hope that you, with all your troubles, might sing me to my sleep. Yet here you are. Yet here she is. Huh.
I was hoping we might have a chance to talk.
Oh, but we are talking, are we not?
I mean the two of us, in private.
And abandon my guests when I've just arrived. I have so many farewells to make.
Is this Grace, my lady? The new muse?
Oh! What manners I have. Grace, Grace, meet the lovely mortal woman who shall tonight become the new me.
Hi, my name's Venus, and yes, it really is Venus. Nice to meet you, Grace.
Yeah, hi. Nice to meet you.
We'll both be new at this, huh? Maybe we could get together and compare notes if you,
Survived my trial?
Yeah, Lady Aphrodite told me. I shouldn't have brought that up. I'm sorry.
There will be so much time for you lovelies to speak later. Now, we must prepare for my departure.
I just want to say, I'm really sorry that this happened to you, that you need to do this.
A babe in our dreary world, and yet already possessed of such earnest purpose.
Weren't you opposed to this, Grace?
Apollo! Oh, you've come after all.
You look remarkably well, cousin.
I've had a great deal of time to prepare. I assure you that would not be the case. As for you, Grace, have you gathered the true purpose of tonight's gathering?
I couldn't say.
An honest answer, I suppose. Some say it is about pain, for I have known pain. Some say it is about love, for above all things, I have known love. But truly, tonight is about memory. Memory I want to lose. But first, I shall honor it. Go! Enjoy the gathering, Grace! Tell me when you're ready to begin.
Back again.
I don't think I'll have a chance to talk to Aphrodite. Not before, you know.
I was hoping she might have spared a moment.
What should I do?
You have two choices, Grace. Either you do as she asks and sing her to her rest,
At which point Venus won't have Aphrodite's memories yet.
or you somehow convince her to remain with us and hope she's grateful.
And doesn't regret it. Or get angry at me for ruining her party.
Do what you feel is right. It's a risk either way.
I should get back out there.
I want to apologize again, Grace. I really messed up. It looks like I'll be doing that a lot. Lady Aphrodite said I'm ready, but I don't know.
Having second thoughts? If so, now's probably the time to mention it.
I would never do that to Lady Aphrodite. I'm just nervous.
That's understandable.
If I can ask, what does it feel like after it happens? Do you feel different?
I'm not sure. It happened so fast I didn't know what to think. Calliope died and then all this happened.
You didn't remember anything? About her? Who she was? She was just gone?
Yeah. Isn't that the point of all this?
I just wanted to be sure. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it could be real.
How do you know Aphrodite exactly?
So I was working at this homeless shelter, right? A couple of years ago, and she came in with one of the older residents. And she was there in this, like, amazing dress. And she's sitting with this guy and really listening to him. Like, they were old friends or something. I just thought, what is someone like her doing in a place like this? So, I just went over and introduced myself.
That's it? Just like that.
Yeah. She came back to the shelter a few times, but by then, I guess she'd taken an interest in me instead.
Are you really okay with all this? You know what's gonna happen, right?
I saw a lot of people in crisis at the shelter. I knew something was wrong with Lady Aphrodite. She's in so much pain, Grace. She won't let you see how much. Eros called me one night desperate. She wouldn't stop screaming. She didn't know where she was. She's a good person, Grace. A good soul. She deserves mercy.
But don't you feel this is wrong? I mean, you're ending your life. It's like some kind of murder-suicide pact.
I don't think of it like that. Lady Aphrodite is not committing suicide, and I'm not being murdered.
Aren't you? Your life is ending. It's being taken over, swallowed up by Aphrodite's grief.
I'm becoming part of something bigger. Something amazing. Or maybe you're right. It'll be terrible, and I'll end up in so much pain I'll regret it.
So why go through with it?
Because Lady Aphrodite needs me. Maybe, just maybe, if I'm added into the mix of all the people she's been, maybe things will be different.
Back again.
Have you spoken with Venus? She seems really
Nice, earnest, a genuinely good person.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's not an accident. Ever since the war, Aphrodite has sought out the kindest, the most innocent souls to be her successors. She chooses them because she believes that over time, it might make her a better person. A more worthy person.
Wouldn't it be better if she chose people who were, I don't know, more resilient?
I suppose that depends on your definition of strength, Grace.
I should get back out there.
I have tried so hard, fought for so long, but in the end, I must bid you all farewell once again. But before I go, I would like us all to remember the sacrifices that brought us here, to this strange new world. This time, it is with the help of our lovely muse that we shall be guided. We let them rise. We let it happen. We waited far too long. We thought we shouldn't intervene. We were wrong. We were wrong. Since the beginning we were hidden. We held court from up above. 'Twas the golden age of reason, and I the queen of love. But a plague of hate was spreading, and there were vultures standing by. Before we fell to our knees begging, we fell from the sky. We let them rise, we let it happen. We waited far too long. We thought we shouldn't intervene. We were wrong. We were wrong. We sought shelter from the shadows, but were soon ripped from the dark. Those mortal souls that ended us were jealous from the start. They hunted me for power to fuel their psychopathic cause. And once they fell before me and worshipped all I was, they chased me down and threw me in a cage, held me prisoner for so long. I thought I'd win their hearts again. I was wrong. I was wrong. Oh, the power of the idols pounds within your chest. But for now I am in mourning for a love gone unexpressed. He was harder than the chisel. I was a horrid block of ice. A winter's chill that stayed until he made his sacrifice. The man that I ignored saved me when I fell. Yes, the husband I abhorred rescued me from hell. I thought it was a joke when it was said to me. He struck a deal with our enemy's enemy, made a secret weapon so my captors let me go. He gave up his freedom, leaving just a memory, and this love I'll never know is what he gave to me.
I can't believe what I'm hearing today.
nothing to say. I can't imagine. I feel like a child who grew up too fast. The goddess of love can't get past the past. What good is a flame when everything's ash? I can't imagine.
There's no excuse but mortals can tell.
You know.
There's no sweet release, it's ongoing.
You know. You know.
Everyone's here to bid me farewell. Can you imagine
I can imagine.
this really happened? I can't forgive the river's too deep. Its reflection won't lie, so just let me sleep. I can't let go of what could have been.
Lost in a moment, lost in a song. Lost in a moment, lost in a song. Lost in a moment.
Mother, I've stood by your side, now I no longer see the purpose of love when it tears at the center of me. My arrows are rusty, forget the bow, and I won't be begging you not to go. But when you're away, you leave us a broken home. And you leave me alone, lost in a moment, lost in a song. Lost in a moment, lost in a song.
Lost in a moment. So much suffering here. Our queen deserves mercy, that much is clear. And in the blink of an eye, lost in a moment, lost in a song. Lost in a moment, lost in a song.
Lost in a moment, lost in a moment, lost in a moment.
Are you?
I'm fine. I'm still myself. I thought there'd be something more, that I feel her presence, but she's just gone.
She'll be back. But she'll also be you. She'll be different.
I'll try to be ready. I promise.
You'll get through this, both of you. Healing takes time.
Not if you keep resetting the clock.
Grace is right. I'm not Lady Aphrodite, but eventually, she and I will be one. Together, we will get through this.
I hope you're right. Before we go, Aphrodite told me you wanted her help to learn about Calliope's death. I'm not my mother, but maybe there's something I can tell you. Do you have any suspects yet?
I was, thinking maybe Pan.
Pan? He's a lot of things, but a murderer.
He showed up at my apartment right after I left Athena's office. He's very suspicious.
He is, I'll give you that. I'll never forgive him for Cupid.
You know, there is a far more obvious suspect.
You're thinking of Medusa, aren't you?
Wait, hold the phone. That chick who turns people into stone?
Yeah, that's the one.
Medusa works for Athena as, well, as a watcher. That's how Lady Aphrodite described it.
Mother always complained there was something wrong about Medusa, that she would be trouble eventually. Athena disagreed.
If you're gonna start looking into anyone, Grace, start with her.
Come now, Venus. It's been a long night. I'll get you home.
Thank you for everything, Grace. Truly. It was a wonderful song.
So, did they have anything helpful?
Maybe. What do you know about Medusa?
I know she's dangerous, but she does Athena's bidding.
How sure are you of that?
I'm not sure of anything any longer. You aren't thinking of seeking her out, I hope.
I have to. How else will I find out what she knows?
You need to be careful, Grace. Medusa is not to be toyed with. Athena employs her as a spy master, a hound to do her bidding, a vicious hound at that. Athena's not likely to tell either of us where to find Medusa. I can't say for certain who would know. Are you all right, Grace? You seem troubled.
What Aphrodite went through, it's a lot.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about the life of an immortal. It never ends.
Wow. Way to really sell it, Apollo.
You really are amazing, you know that? Every hurdle, every piece of unpleasant news, you just keep on going. I don't know how you do it.
It kind of helps that I don't have a choice.
I just wish I could see the world through your eyes. Next to you, I feel very old.
How about you come with me sometime? Let me show you the world I see.
A tempting offer.
Sounds kind of corny, huh?
It really doesn't. I would love that. Can we go now?
Hey, I'm game if you are.
Take my hand for a minute. Let your hair down for a second. There's so much to like if you open your eyes. If you try to search for the light, you might be surprised. No, it's not hard to find. The courage you need to be joyful is something you build over time. No matter what I do, the
take your hand for a minute. Oh, it's more than I feel I deserve. It could grow on me, this world that you see. Yet I've been alive for too long. 1,000 years of learning about what could go wrong. I'm tired of being wrong.
Apollo, I'm sure you've had it rough. 1,000 years of life is hard, but easier with someone like me to lean on. The courage you need to be joyful.
I appreciate the campaign.
Something I'll come help you find.
If I ever let her know.
No matter what I do, the answer's in you.
The answer's in
I'll hold
me.
your hand all the way.
The courage you need to be joyful is something you build over time. No matter what I do, the answer's in you. I will be here for the ride. Yes, I will be here for the ride.
Hey Leon, how's it going? Hope you're doing good. If I don't chat back or respond right away, it's just because it's a musical game, so I want to make sure that I'm not talking during the songs, but I'll definitely, chat or respond when I can.
Hello again. I can't remember the last time I had guests so frequently. I did tell you we could discuss your memories and the Eidolon more in depth after the party. Did you have any questions, or?
How many times have you died? Can I ask that?
Well, we call it passing on, meeting the Eidolon, and it's fine. I've passed on 12 times that I can recall.
So your name isn't really Apollo?
Most recently it was Lucas. Everyone Lucas ever knew is gone, however, so these days I prefer Apollo again.
Lucas? Seems weird to think of you as a Lucas.
It was weird for him, too. Much like yourself, Lucas becoming Apollo was somewhat of a surprise.
Sounds like there's a story there. Tell me about this Lucas. How did he become you? Or is it how you became Apollo?
Apollo had taken to surfing. He left the city without permission and roamed the coast looking for... Well, I'm not sure now. Whatever it was, he found it one night when a giant wave took him down. He was drowning, and I thought, this is finally it. But it wasn't. Lucas saw Apollo struggling and swam out to save him. He pulled us ashore, but it was too late. It took a long time to realize what happened. I didn't return to the city until years later. By then, everyone thought I was Apollo's chosen successor.
So no trial for you, huh?
It wasn't easy at first, without memories or anyone to guide me, but no, nothing like that.
Wait, what would have happened if Lucas hadn't tried to rescue you? What if no one was there when you...
When I died, then the Eidolon of Apollo's line would have ended forever, I think.
You think?
There have been stories about Eidolons that survive for a time and go wandering. That's probably all they are, though. Stories. It's not something we've had much opportunity to study, but normally death without passing on is how an idol really dies. Forever.
When all these memories start to return, will I feel different?
Well, let's see. It starts as dreams you'll have of places you've never been, people you've never met, fleeting images, feelings. Then they'll appear while you're awake. You'll be eating breakfast and suddenly recall when you last ate something similar in the 17th century. The only difficult part is that eventually it can be hard to differentiate between your life and all those other lives. They blend together.
It does sound confusing.
A little, yeah. And not all the memories will be good ones. It can take time to process.
You said it becomes hard to differentiate your life from the others. How hard, exactly? It'll still be me, right?
Grace, would you say that who you are is at least in part due to your experiences?
I guess so, sure.
Well, you'll have a lot more experiences. They won't feel like someone else's either. It will feel like you did all those things. They will shape who you are now, just as they shaped Calliope and all those who came before her. The good news is, you won't get all the memories. Each time we pass on, the older memories fade.
Wait, how is it good that old memories start to fade?
We're many thousands of years old, Grace. If all of those memories returned with perfect clarity, you'd drown in them.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean you've all forgotten so much?
Tell me, how much do you remember from when you were a small child?
Bits and pieces, I guess. Not much.
It's the same for us. The further I try to think back, the more blurry it becomes. I remember the important bits, but little else. Some of the really old memories. There's so many mortal stories that get mixed up with them, things my previous selves learned as legends. It becomes hard to tell. It takes time, Grace. You'll remember all the lives you've led, but at a pace you can handle, and nothing more.
It's a lot to consider, assuming I'll even have time to worry about it, what with the trial coming.
Hopefully this eases whatever concerns you might have had. Anything else you'd like to discuss while you're here?
Tell me more about Calliope. You and her were good friends, right?
For centuries, we were far more. I was the god of the arts, and the muses were my constant companions. We went everywhere together. They had many names, but the three most common were Clio, Talia, and Calliope. The Sisters of Beauty, I called them, though they weren't always women.
I never thought of that. Do idols change gender a lot?
Most of us seek out inheritors who are like us, I suppose, but not all. Calliope, in fact, was a man in her previous incarnation. Christoph, I think his name was. A poet Calliope adored. I was surprised when she made him a muse.
I'd like to know a little more about you. All I know is you live in a dump, you have an oracle, and you...
I'm not sure what to tell you. One day has bled into the next for so long I feel like I've been lost in the spaces in between.
Wow, that's a bit dramatic.
Yeah, well, it comes naturally. Music and the arts were once under my purview as a god.
How did that get decided? Did you have a big hat full of pieces of paper and you all picked at random?
No, we chose them for ourselves. Some, at least. Others were given to us by our priests. We collected godly responsibilities like marbles.
People collect marbles?
Oh, or whatever it is mortals collect these days. Cars, perhaps? The point is, we took our godly duties very seriously.
I'd like to know a little more about the idols. I am one now, right?
You are. What would you like to know?
Well, what are we? Where did we come from? If an idol is a soul that moves from person to person, it must have started somewhere, right?
The short answer is, we don't know. If I think far enough back, I can remember bits and pieces. I remember my first Pythian games, the day the idols split in two over Troy, the day my first son died. But before that, nothing. None of us do. I vaguely recall the very first Apollo many thousands of years ago, but was he the original? Did he appear out of the ether? I couldn't tell you.
You must have been very different back when you were a proper god.
I think most of us were. We saw ourselves as, I don't know, teachers. Mortals were our students, and we guided them to enlightenment. We thought we were special, infallible. I was as magnificent as the sun, and I surrounded myself with those who basked in my radiance.
That doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, I was arrogant. If there was a man or woman I desired, then I had to have them, or there would be consequences. You wouldn't have liked me. I wouldn't have liked me.
So what is Persephone's beef with you exactly? Is it just about what Hades did to her?
That's no small thing.
It seems more personal than that.
I mentioned how Persephone's kidnapping almost meant war between Olympus and Hades, yes? Well, while this was all going on, Persephone managed to escape the underworld, and I'm the one she encountered first.
Uh-oh.
Hades was hot on her heels, and I had a choice. Either do battle with Hades and start the war right then and there, or let him take her back. Zeus would have had my head if I had sparked a war. Yet all I still think of are Persephone's eyes as Hades smugly took back his prisoner. It's not my finest moment.
Apollo, have you ever tried, I don't know, talking to someone about how you feel?
I will never understand this modern fascination with therapy and focusing on one's feelings.
It might help. You never know.
Yes, I've tried it. There was one I used to speak to. Hecate enchanted him never to reveal what I told him. It was interesting. Frankly, my time with you has proven far more beneficial.
I'm not a therapist, Apollo.
I understand. And I don't mean to rely on you, only that it makes me happy just to know you, Grace.
Who did Calliope become after that poet, Kristoff?
You have to realize we're already into the period where Calliope and I weren't really speaking. She showed up one day in her new form, the one you met. An opera singer whose name she never revealed. We fought, as I recall. I told her she couldn't pass on every time she met an artist she fell in love with. Eventually she'd forget everything about who we were and where we came from. She said she'd rather forget than wallow in old memories like I or the other idols were doing. It was time to wake up and make the best of our situation. Calliope was an idealist without compromise. Always. She hated what we'd become. What I'd become. She wasn't wrong.
From how you describe it, you and Calliope fought a lot.
As often as we saw each other, which became less and less as time wore on. However, she fought with everyone. Calliope hated the idols being kept secret. She and Athena would get into screaming matches over the rules, and it got so I could no longer protect her. She moved out of Olympus years ago, and kept to herself. I just assumed she was wrapped up with some new artist when I got the news.
Do you regret not making up with her?
Every day I think about our last conversation and what I should have said or done differently. The problem with immortality is that you think you have all the time in the world.
It wasn't only fighting with Calliope, right? Surely there were good things too.
Is that how it sounds? No, she was marvelous. A force to be reckoned with if there ever was one. In the darkest days during the war, it was her songs that gave us hope. She kept Aphrodite alive through sheer determination, I think. Calliope cared. About us, about art, about people she'd only just met. It was her greatest strength as well as her greatest weakness.
I wonder why she picked me. I don't feel like I'm any of those things.
You underestimate yourself, Grace. I see a lot of her in you. She chose well.
What happened to the other muses? You mentioned 2 others. Were they lost in the war?
Cleo perished centuries before, the victim of an obsessed writer she'd spurned. He kept her in a cage as his personal muse.
Ugh, that's pretty dark.
It was. By the time we found her, she was already... Well, it's enough to say her captor didn't survive her for long. Talia, however, was lost to us on the very last day of the war. We were about to leave on the ship, but she just never showed up.
Do you know what happened to her?
We never found out. I worried for years, even hired people to look, but as far as I can tell, she up and vanished into smoke that day. The war had ground her down. I was upset, but not surprised.
Psst. Isn't it strange to not know where you come from? For all you know, the idols could be aliens.
Interesting. The notion that there might be some other place far away where we're the norm is comforting. Sadly, our memories are filled with blanks. There was a war with beings we called the Titans. A terrible conflict where half our number died, yet do I remember a single battle. The last was after Rome fell. Zeus called us together to relay the news, told us to prepare for battle. And then, in the blink of an eye, I was in the 16th century. What made us forget 1,000 years? What happened during that time? We don't know. Athena calls that period the gap.
The gap you mentioned. What was that like? Did you just wake up one day, or...
I know I was alive. I passed on my eidolon who knows how many times, yet the moment I woke up, as you call it, all memory of that period was gone. It was Athena who found us. I was in France, I think. She came to my farm, and the moment I laid eyes on her, I just knew. It all came back. Did someone do that to us? Did we scatter to the winds for 1,000 years on purpose? It's a mystery.
What about Athena? I mean, she's the one who found you, right? She must have been aware.
Athena claims she awoke on her own and spent the next century locating the other idols. We've pieced together very little of the gap or of our origins. We simply live with it. Gods we may be, but I'm afraid we don't have all the answers.
Earlier you mentioned your son dying. Did I hear that right? Can idols have children?
It was rare, but yes. Back in ancient times, some of them even became idols themselves.
Some of the idols are actually family, then?
Not anymore. Most of our children met terrible ends. A gift of the fates, perhaps. I don't know. The ones who weren't idols. It's hard watching your children grow old and die. Never understanding why they can't have the same immortality you do, why you can't grant it to them. My first son is why I'm not permitted in Hades any longer. Let's simply say that most idols have stopped having children, and maybe leave it at that.
Tell me more about the war. It seems to have had a huge effect on all of you.
I don't think we would have left the old world otherwise. It was home.
From Aphrodite's song, I know Ares betrayed everyone. What did you do?
I caused it.